Hello, I'm Janice and I'm promoting free courses for businesses and individuals. Today I'm going to speak to you about 6 emotional leadership styles. Think for a moment about the best manager that you've ever had. What was it that made working with him or her so rewarding? Maybe your manager was happy and excited about their work, and that made you feel happy and excited too. They never got angry when problems came up, but instead focused on finding workable solutions. They were nice and confident, but always ready to hear other people's opinions. As a result, you enjoyed your job and consistently performed well. Now, think about the worst manager you've ever had. The one who was ill-tempered, made unrealistic demands without telling you why, and was always domineering. I'm sure you must have worked hard, but only because you were afraid. This type of manager would usually get results in the short term, but their team members would soon feel tired and staff turnover would usually be high. The contrast between the two examples of managers is clear and it is significant. Some research shows that a leader's emotional state can impact everyone in an organization. The leader's mood can cause a chain reaction that affects not only morale, but also productivity and the bottom line. So, as a leader, developing a high level of emotional intelligence, that ability to manage your own emotions and to read other people's, is an important business skill. There are 6 emotional leadership styles that are useful in different circumstances. In this session, I will explore each of them and talk about how you can develop the skills you need to use each one effectively. Leadership experts Daniel Goleman, Richard Boyatzis, and Annie McGee identified 6 emotional leadership styles that skilled leaders can use and adjust depending on the situation and circumstance. Each style has a different effect on people's emotions, and each has strengths and weaknesses in different situations. 4 of these styles, visionary, coaching, affiliative, and democratic, promote harmony and positive outcomes. However, the other 2, commanding and pace setting, may create tension, and you should only use them in specific circumstances. Goleman and his co-authors say that you shouldn't use any one style all the time. Instead, use the 6 styles interchangeably. Choose the one that best addresses the situation that you're facing, the people concerned, and the emotions that they're experiencing. Learning how to read a situation and the feelings of the people involved will help you to select the appropriate leadership style. Now, let's examine each style in more detail. The visionary approach to leadership is summed up in the phrase, "Come with me." Visionary leaders are inspiring. They tell their teams where they're heading, but don't dictate how they're going to get there. They encourage their team members to use their own initiative to solve a problem or to meet a target. Empathy is the most important aspect of visionary leadership. Visionary leadership is most effective when your organization needs a new vision or a dramatic new direction, or for helping your team to manage change. However, it's less likely to be effective when you're working with a team that's more experienced than you are. Visionary leadership can create the most positive results of all the 6 leadership styles. However, it may also be overbearing if you use it too much. To develop a visionary leadership style, focus on increasing your expertise. vision, self-confidence, and empathy. Get excited about change and let your team see your enthusiasm. Remember, enthusiasm, it's infectious. You also need to convince others of your vision. So focus on improving your communication and presentation skills. The coaching leaders approach is try this. The coaching leadership style connects a team member's personal goals and values with the organization's goals. This style is empathic and encouraging, and you can use it when you want to focus on developing people for future success. This style centers on having in-depth conversations that may have little to do with people's current work, instead focusing on long-term life plans and how these connect with the organization's mission. This style has a positive impact because it establishes rapport and trust and increases motivation. You can use the coaching style when you have a team member who needs help building long-term skills, or if you feel that he or she is floating adrift in your organization and could benefit from a coaching or mentoring relationship. Please note, however, that coaching can fail when it's used with an employee who is not making any effort or who needs a lot of direction and feedback. In these cases, pace setting or commanding leadership may be more effective. To develop a coaching style, you'll have to learn how to engage in informal coaching and mentoring. It's important to get to know the people on your team. When you know your people, you're better able to see what they need guidance or advice with. Use management by wandering around to keep in touch with their needs. And I can provide more details about this as a topic in another session. The affiliative leader believes that people come first. The affiliative leadership style promotes harmony within the team and emphasizes emotional connections. It connects people by encouraging inclusion and resolving conflict. To use this style, you need to value others' emotions and have a strong awareness of their emotional needs. You can use this style whenever there is a team tension or conflict, when trust has been broken, or if the team needs to be motivated through a stressful time. Leaders who use the affiliative style are highly focused on emotions. So you ought to learn how to resolve conflicts and how to be optimistic. If you know more about managing emotions within your team, then this will also help you. Again, I can put this into another session. The democratic leader asks, what do you think? Style focuses on collaboration. Leaders using this leadership style actively seek input from their teams, and they rely more on listening than on directing. This style is best used when you need to get your team on board with an idea or you need to build a consensus. It's also effective when you need your team's input. The democratic leadership style shouldn't be used with people who are inexperienced, lack competence, or aren't well informed about a situation. It's best to ask for input from team members who are motivated, knowledgeable, and capable. To develop a democratic leadership style, involve your team in problem solving and decision making, and teach them the skills that they need to do this. Also, try to improve your active listening and facilitation skills. The pace-setting leader says, do as I do now. This leadership style focuses on performance and achieving goals. Pace-setting leaders expect excellence from their teams and they will often jump in themselves to make sure that targets are met. This style doesn't indulge poor performance. Everyone is held to a high standard. While this can be a successful style, it can have a negative effect on the team, leading to burnout, exhaustion, and high staff turnover. You can try the pace-setting leadership style when you need to get high quality results from a motivated team quickly. Because the pace-setting style focuses on high performance, learn how to improve the quality of your team's work using techniques such as Six Sigma and Kaizen. You train your people well and engage in high performance coaching to help them to become as effective as possible. You could also work on your motivation skills so that you can get the best from your people at all times. The commanding leader demands, do what I tell you. Commanding leaders use an autocratic approach. This often depends on orders, the often unspoken threat of disciplinary action and tight control. So it's important to remember that people in democratic countries are used to having a high level of control over their own lives and their work, and the commanding approach could deprive them of this self-ownership. What's more, because this leadership style is so often misused, it can have a profoundly negative impact on a team. The commanding leadership style is best used in crisis situations to jumpstart fast-paced change. It is also useful for problematic team members. It is advisable to be very cautious when setting out to develop a commanding leadership style, as this style is very easily misused, and it should only be used when absolutely necessary. To work effectively in such high-pressure situations, you also need to be skilled at managing a crisis, thinking on your feet, and making good decisions under pressure, topics that will be covered in other sessions. So, in summary of this section, evidence shows that a leader's emotional state can resonate throughout an organization, affecting its culture and productivity. Therefore, emotional intelligence is a key leadership skill. There are 6 emotional leadership styles. We have the visionary, coaching, affiliative, democratic, pace-setting, and commanding. Each one has a different effect on the people who you're leading. Each style works best in different situations, resonating differently with your team and producing different results. Anyone can learn how to use these leadership styles. However, take care to choose the style that's best suited to the needs of your team and the specific situation. Now, let us look at these 6 emotional leadership styles in action. Firstly, the come with me visionary leader in action. Imagine that in order to meet some aggressive sales goals, you've decided to overhaul the way that your department connects with new clients. The techniques and processes you've developed are radically different from the ones that your people are used to, and you're concerned that the team will be resistant to change. However, you're genuinely excited about the new process and confident that these changes will boost team members' morale and their productivity. You adopt the visionary approach to help to get them on board with your ideas. When your team members pick up on your energy, excitement, and sincerity, they get excited too. You've communicated your vision and motivation clearly and shown empathy by explaining how it can benefit everyone. Your team members know it's up to them to use the new system to make things happen, and they're willing to put in the extra work needed to learn new skills. Okay? So can you see that, how that's been explained? Next, we have the try this type of coaching leader. So for example here, Duncan, a new hire on your team, is having trouble adapting to his new role. He's been with the organization for only a month, but you can tell that he is dissatisfied. Your organization requires face time at the office, and Duncan misses the freedom of remote working, which he did at his old job. You also get the feeling that he'd like a position with more responsibility. You meet with Duncan and you help him see that being in the office 5 days a week does have distinct advantages over working from home. For instance, showing up every day allows him to bond with the team and network with colleagues who could turn into strategic allies in the future. You also encourage him to use your organization's training library, which he can visit on his lunch break to learn the skills he needs for a promotion. To inspire and motivate Duncan, you assign him projects that will stretch his skills and knowledge base. Instead of being overwhelmed, he expresses excitement and enthusiasm about the opportunity. After your talk, Duncan takes your advice and starts making the most of his time in the office. He works on his projects with dedication, impressing both you and your manager. In action also, we have the people come first affiliative leader. So here in action, after a difficult year, Olivia's manager has been asked to leave. Although he was proficient at his job, his management style was dictatorial. It didn't matter what he had to do or whose feelings he hurt. Meeting departmental goals was his top priority. Olivia has been asked to take over his position, and although she's excited about the opportunity, she's now in charge of a team that's emotionally battered and untrusting. She decides to focus on her team's emotional needs before doing any work on department goals and future projects. Her first few meetings are just spent talking. She also allows everyone to open up about how their old manager made them feel. They're allowed time to vent their anger and frustration. They quickly realize that although they went through their own tough times, they'll all experience similar emotions. After 2 meetings, the atmosphere in the team is better and more open to new relationships because people's emotional needs were met first. They are now ready to focus on new projects and goals. Now we have the "what do you think" democratic leader in action. Your department has lost money over the past 2 quarters and you're eager to reverse this. You know that if you can't figure out how to make your department profitable soon, something radical and unpleasant will have to be done to stem the losses. You know that your team members are aware of the problem that you're facing and that they are anxious about the future too. There's lots of talent, experience and ability in your team, and you decide that a collaborative effort could yield fresh ideas. What's more, it could give the team the sense that it is making a positive contribution to solving the problem. You schedule a meeting with your team to discuss the situation, giving it a week to prepare. At the meeting, you ask people to present their ideas. Then you give them the floor. For the rest of the meeting, you just listen. Your team members talk through their options and you reach a consensus on what to do next. I hope you are following so far. Next, we have the "do as I do now" pace-setting leader in action. Although the holidays are coming up, your manager is pressing you to improve your team's numbers by the end of the quarter, which is only a few weeks away. Your team members are motivated and capable, but they're also tired. They're not looking forward to a last-minute push right before their break. You decide to move forward anyway. You know they can handle the pressure. If they meet their performance goals, they'll be rewarded with a great end-of-year bonus. So you get them fired up. And once more, ask everyone to work extra hours to ensure success. You also work extra hours yourself, and you help anyone who falls behind. You know it's a big ask, and that this can have a negative effect on your team in the short term. But you decide it's in everyone's best interest to comply with the manager's wishes on this occasion. You know your team's limits, and you'll be in a good position to push back if it happens again, or if the manager's demands keep increasing. And finally, what I tell you, commanding leader in action. Harvey has just learned that his CEO is stepping down as of today. As the executive vice president, he's next in line for the position. But right now, the board is in turmoil. Everyone is trying to decide what to do before the financial markets open and the shares plummet. He tries to collaborate with some of his allies, but everyone has their own ideas about what needs to happen. The team is arguing constantly, and Harvey realizes that nothing is going to get done unless he takes the lead. He starts issuing orders to those closest to him, almost without thinking. His tone is firm and authoritative, and there's no room for debate. Quickly, the room quiets down, and he outlines what needs to happen within the next few hours. His initiative and self-control quiet the fears of everyone in the room, and things get done quickly. When the crisis has passed, Harvey switches to a more democratic leadership style, respecting the experience and expertise of his executive team. So, these in-action examples that you have just listened to should have highlighted that you need to take care in choosing the style of emotional leadership that would best suit the needs of your team and any specific situation that you might find yourself in. Your ability to manage your own emotions and to read other people's is a very important business skill.